But let's go back to Valarie Kimani.
Yes. So fast forward, again, because of my reputation with creatives, EABL asked me to be one of the inaugural judges for Tusker Project Fame 1.
Serious? You were one of the...
Yes, I was one of the judges along with Ian and Joy Mboya, the very first TPF 1, as they call it. And
that's where Patricia Kihoro and...
No,
But
that was
two.
3.
What? She came back?
2 or 3.
Okay,
That was much
Alvan.
later. Yes.
Alvan was in that.
So it was Alvan, Linda Mudhama.
Oh.
There was
Valarie, of course.
Valarie, of course. And from TZ, there was who was from TZ? The female musician from TZ. From Kenya, there was also Cedric. No, what's it called? Cedric. I've gone blank.
Don't worry.
And this happens all the time.
But
they're all my friends, and I've just gone blank.
You named a few.
But Valarie Kimani won, and I remember the later Chengobura was what do they call the one who's like the teacher, the head teacher, the principal at the time. And so Valarie won, and then EABL, like she won a contract with Gallo Records in South Africa. So EABL, Gallo Records asked me to manage her. At least, in fact, they had asked me to manage all 4 until, in transition, so to speak. So I started with all 4, but I couldn't manage. And I'd been out of management for a while. So I said, look, I'll take on Valarie because she's one. And I remember we spent the next 6 months just negotiating the contract until Gallo, who were the biggest record label in Africa, especially at the time, asked, who is this David Muriithi? Because the contract was like this, and I think they thought we wouldn't read it, and I was like, no.
This, that, the other.
ABC, I had enough experience to do that, passed it through my lawyers, and it took us about 5 months. We finally signed the contract and recorded the album and went over to South Africa to record the rest of the album, master it. But I wanted it to be an essentially Kenyan album, and so did she. And it really was. But we did 3 songs with South African artists, including Theo Mafikizolo. One of the songs was actually recorded in his studio in Durban.
Whoa.
Was it in Durban? No, in Pretoria, beg your pardon, in Tshwane. Was recorded, and he actually sings on it as well. And there's a guy called Jonina, who's also an amazing legend. He also performed and sang on album, and she sang even in local languages. It was a really beautiful album. For our first album, is really, and we shot a video, I remember. So yes, I managed Valarie for about 2 years. And I think I can easily say, I think she was one of my most successful artists, because her album got signed up for a distribution deal with Warner Brothers, with Warner Jazz in Europe. And I remember there was 2 particular series called Women in Jazz, and it had Ella Fitzgerald, it had like big names, and then Valarie Kimani.
What does it mean to get signed up to a distribution deal?
Basically, your presence will be in Europe, to cut a long story short.
And that's
and you're selling, and you will earn royalties off your sales and off airplay, etc.
That's crazy.
And how that happened?
Dude, you're an archive.
How that happened? Do you know an artist called Michael Bublé?
Yes.
Michael Bublé
He's huge.
is one of the hugest Canadian artists in the world today. So by chance, because Gallo Records represents Warner Brothers worldwide, so we're sitting in the A&R department of Gallo Records, and what they do every 6 months, they send new sign-ups that they've signed up to Warner Brothers and in London, and say, look, these are and they always pick 2 songs. So they have a sample CD with, let's say there's 5 artists they want to represent. They'll have 2 songs off each. And they asked me, which songs should we send of Valarie's? And I said, she had done a cover of Besame Mucho, famous song. They're like, no, let's give up one of the more traditional. I said, no, put Besame Mucho. Please put it there.
Okay, so let's take it from, again, they were together in African Heritage.
So yes.
So you sent what song over?
So we sent Besame Mucho over, which was recorded by Jack Odongo, who's Valarie Kimani's uncle. The father of Jazz Odongo is also a very well-known producer. And yes, her biological father, Chokabiru, and Jack Odongo worked at African Heritage together. So this song, he actually redid, his own rendition of Besame Mucho. In fact, he's the one who encouraged her to do Besame Mucho. And we chose Besame Mucho, and we chose one of her Kikuyu songs on her album. And those two songs are the two songs that went on the international, on different compilations, Women in Jazz. That is available online. You can see it online if you check iTunes or whatever. But at the time, at the CEO of Warner Brothers in London, when it arrived on his desk and he was listening to it, with the representative from Gallo, Michael Bublé's agent was also in the room and heard that Besame Mucho rendition. And just by chance, the CEO of Warner Brothers, he said that's his favorite song in the world generally, Besame Mucho. And he loved what she did with it. He couldn't believe that was a Kenyan girl. He actually was, he apparently listened to it again and he's like, what? And just by chance, again, Michael Bublé's manager was there and he said, look, is there a way you can, because now they were organizing for Michael Bublé to come back to South Africa to do a tour. Because Michael Bublé was actually made big through Warner Brothers South Africa. He actually made it big in South Africa before he made it big worldwide. So you're sort of doing a homecoming tour kind of thing to say thank you to South African fans over the years.
For his success.
So he was asked, can you give a space to somebody? The manager was asked, and he asked Michael Bublé, he said, yep, because I'd like to be able to give back the way I was given a chance. Now, Michael Bublé doesn't normally have opening acts at all, because he's big band. They're like 20 band members or 25 or whatever. There's not even space on stage to have another band. So they created an extra stage for us. And we were told you can only have 3 musicians on stage. Not the whole band, we had a 7-piece band.
Yeah.
So she had to get a double bass, a lady called Judith. Moses, who's quite well known for the piano, and her. So they had to do 4 songs just like that.
What?
And we did 2 tours with Michael Bublé, and we have this picture. And this picture was taken in the back when he came to check in on her, just check if she was okay. That's how we met him the first time. In the backstage, you've got the big star showing.
South Africa.
This is South Africa. At what they call the Coca-Cola Dome, which is the biggest music venue in Johannesburg. It holds like 20,000 people plus. And he just came, he just popped in. Said, hi, Valarie, are you okay? Is they taking care of you? And you're thinking, this is a multi-Grammy award. He just came so charmingly and he said, look, it'll be fine. Just have fun, Popped out. Then you do what you call meet and greet, at the backstage. And then he came, took a picture with all of us. That's the picture you've seen. And then the show happened.
And she's the only one?
Only opening act. Now, of course, it brought a lot of haste from other artists in Gallo Records. There were all sorts of claims and corruption and whatnot. And how could they bypass all the South African artists to go get a Kenyan all the way to be flown back?
You can't make up some of this stuff.
You can't. It was mind blowing. And we did Durban with him as well. We had 14,000 people at the ICC in Durban as well. We toured with him, and he was such a sport. He was so comical. You can see a picture of him there feeding me funny things there. He was just a fun guy, and this guy was a mega star. So that was quite an important,
So what did that do for now Valarie's career?
It actually opened up. She got so many dates in South Africa. She was actually very big in South Africa. She used to get mobbed in South Africa. That's the weirdest thing. In Kenya, yeah. But in South Africa, she was a big deal. Her music was being played on radio. They pushed it.
Let's be real. In Kenya, she had close to zero acceptance. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It was very minimal.
Yeah, it was very minimal here, but she was out there. You're telling me but she also had something special with her because again, she landed on Broadway with all those people.
At Cirque du Soleil.
But she's the only one who was taken from Tinga Tinga. There's something special about this lady.
Yeah. It wasn't Tinga Tinga. It was called... It's the Luanda version. It was called... I forget its name. Gosh. It's in the memory. It's this turning...
But it was the Luanda version that was taken on Broadway.
And she ended up being headhunted.
And at this time, is she still a musician and...
No, actually just around there because now she wanted to go into theater. Actually, what people don't realize, theater was her first love. She was actually an actress more than she was a musician. She'd even been in a play, in a movie. She'd actually been in a movie. Is it Jerry Karago? Siakati. I think she was in that movie.
Jerry Karago, who's now been made, I know, ambassador, is it?
No, it wasn't Jerry Karago, sorry. It was, I lie, hold on. Which movie was she in? No, I know, that wasn't it.
Okay.
I'll have to remember. I know it's there in the
But she was in
somewhere.
a movie before.
She was in quite a major movie by a local producer.
So acting has always been something that...
Acting was her first love. Singing, she was a shower singer actually. In fact, she was as shocked as everyone else when she won Tusker Project fame. But I think that acting ability gave her showmanship. Because wherever we went, Tanzania, we performed in different countries and different parts of Kenya, she brought it. She really brought it. So it really did help. And I think that's how she ended up on Cirque du Soleil, which is one of the biggest shows in Vegas. And she's been there 3 years. She only stepped down, I think, late last year, but she had a really good run with the Michael
and a huge
Michael
role.
Jackson.
Actually, probably the only singing role.
Musician on it. So I think
so the music again comes full circle.
And she had some of the best voice coach. I think she had the same voice coach as Justin Bieber and Kelly Rowland, something like that. It was the same voice coach she had. One of the top 3 in America.
That's insane.
So her voice it's somewhere else. Yeah. So that was So that was my.
You've talked IP. We can't end this without you at least. There's too much about your history that you can't share it all here. But I just want to touch on maybe 2 things. One of them is IP, and then you get into the Kenya Copyright Board.